And we are starting our live shows today, and our first one's a doozy. We're talking about internet with our friends Cherie and Chris from RV Mobile Internet and Technomadia, which you probably know them. And we're going to talk about how to get internet on the road. It's a big concern for, I think, almost any RVer nowadays, because even if you're not working, it's how we live now. It's how we find campsites, how we talk to our friends and family. So it's a concern for everyone. Let's get started. So hi guys, how are you guys doing?
Good, good.
Thank you for having us on. And yeah, it's mobile internet is almost more essential than electricity sometimes, don't you think?
Yeah. I do.
I can make my own electricity. It's
you have to rely on someone else for the internet. As long as the sun's around, we'll be all right in the other departments.
That's right. So we were curious about what got you interested in keeping up with all of this technology. I mean, how did you guys get started on this and get focused?
Well, our personal blog is technomadia.com, and we started RVing in 2006.
And even before that, I was a mobile internet guy since back in, I think I cut the cord and went mobile internet only in 1996. So that's before there was even Wi-Fi. And that was my part of the tech industry, was one of my prime focuses was mobile tech. So for reference, Chris worked for Palm, the old Palm Pilots. That's kind of like an old school iPhone. Yes.
He worked for them. He was their chief spy. So he tracked the mobile internet industry and technology and wrote for it. I was a software developer when we met and hit the road. And so I had to have mobile internet in order to continue working on the road. Yeah. And we fielded so many questions on the blog about it that it became survival that we had to create a separate site for it.
And this was 11 years ago. So things were a lot harder 10, 11, 9, 8, 7 years ago. And we're just, a lot of people are like, you can stay connected, you can work online, and we're like sharing our tips and tricks. And it turned into a book. And
nice. What's the title of the book there?
Is the Mobile Internet Handbook, and nice. We wrote the first edition in 2013, and I thought I would be able to get away. It was originally just 80 pages.
It was a compilation of blog posts is what it started as. It's like, stop asking us questions. Here's all the blog posts on the topic. And then the book turned into a bigger and bigger thing, and then it turned into a membership site that we started, and that's now become our full-time jobs.
Nice.
It's terrific. There's enough fodder for that because there's enough happening all the time and changing all the time that it's hard to keep up on it. So we rely on you guys for that.
It is. It's constantly changing. We thought we could put out one book and be done with it, but everything changed. And so yeah, any advice, that's our disclaimer, any advice we give tonight is subject to change tomorrow morning with the news.
Of course.
That's right.
But the good thing is, overall, things do keep getting better, faster, cheaper, which is actually a pretty good trend to be on.
That's good. Yeah, they don't feel like they're getting cheaper because all the cool plans keep going away, but
sort of, yeah.
That's why you got to stay on top of it.
Because there's
right. Right. But there are so many different options nowadays. So actually, let's get into that. So let's get into some of the basic ways to get internet on the road. I mean, the first one that people think of is Wi-Fi, but in our experience, Wi-Fi at parks is not so great. So can you explain why that is? Why most parks don't have the best Wi-Fi when they advertise it?
So yeah, they advertise it almost as clearly as 50 amp hookups, and you would think, oh great, I can go there and I can Skype with my friends and I can stream Netflix.
But what you have the equivalent of is a lot of these RV parks have. Imagine an RV park that had 50 amp hookups everywhere, but they all just tied into a long extension cord into the back of the campground manager's house. That 50 amp hookup wouldn't be doing you much good, particularly if you had 10 people trying to share that one extension cord.
So what a lot of RV parks do, they have to get their internet connection from somewhere. And just like when we were living in sticks and bricks houses, we usually went to the cable company or a phone company and got a DSL or a cable connection, and that provided you so much bandwidth. That's kind of like bringing a hose into your house. That's how much water can come into your house at a time. The same with internet. And a campground, generally, they're restricted, number one, by how much is available by their local providers, and also how much they're willing to spend for that bandwidth coming in.
And then the other part of the challenge is then how much are they going to spend for, well, not just what's coming in, but then to share it out? Are they going to put antennas and distribute the signal all around the park, or are they just going to have it in a central office, which a lot of them skimp on that too?
And what happens a lot of the times, and I'm sure other RVers who have been on the road for any length of time and tried campground Wi-Fi can attest to, is during the day, you might be able to get online just fine. But come 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when everyone's coming home from their great day out exploring, everyone's getting online. They're checking their email. They might be FaceTiming with their friends back home and sharing their day. They might be posting to Instagram or posting to YouTube.
Yeah. Those people just bring the network way down.
Oh, or they want to stream a Netflix movie. All those things, video in particular, just uses a lot of bandwidth. And it just takes a few people on a shared network to consume all the resources that that network has. And we often find that campground Wi-Fi, it's okay for checking email, it's okay for surfing the web, maybe planning your next route, but if you have anything more extreme than that, probably not.
Unless some campgrounds have invested in it, just like some have put in really great power systems, but a lot of them, it's just hardly worth the effort. And a lot of people just got to the point where they don't try. They bring their own Wi-Fi. They bring their own connection is the kind of the next level to take it to.
Yeah, we've noticed in the 3.5 years we've been on the road that we've only had one park with really good Wi-Fi. And it was actually faster than we ever had at home. But other than that, we barely even try the Wi-Fi anymore. We'll try it on our phones real quick just to see what's going on.
But now the one place that we do find Wi-Fi to be very useful, and I think this is what you do right now, is when you're driveway surfing and you're able to look at a friend or family's Wi-Fi. And that can be a whole other story. That's the cases where sometimes investing in the good Wi-Fi gear on your roof can pay off, because then you could not be parked right next to their house. You could be out in their backyard or way out in their back 40 acres and still have that really fast connection.
That is true, because that's actually what we're doing right now.
Right.
We're with family, and we are on their Wi-Fi sitting in our RV outside.
So you're talking about like the Wi-Fi Rangers and those sorts of things, or?
Right. So there's gear. There's a whole range of gear that you can get, and they'll range from, like, this is the Wi-Fi Ranger interior router, and it has a feature called Wi-Fi as WAN, and all that means is you're using another Wi-Fi network as your internet connection. Right.
So all your devices connect to this local network. You have your own private network, and then this has got a different upstream Wi-Fi
And basically,
network.
this gear has a stronger Wi-Fi antenna than your laptop does. So it can reach a signal faster and stronger.
And further away.
And this will reach maybe about 500 yards away. That's about a good range for something like this. And then there's gear you can put on your roof that gives you even further range, up to some of they claim up to 2 miles. We typically find half a mile.
Yeah, and the catch with Wi-Fi gear, and people get really excited, like, well, there's a McDonald's 2 miles from my place, and I want to be able, they've got free Wi-Fi. The gear has to be that high end on both sides of the connection. So McDonald's is not putting in 2 mile long range, high powered gear. They're putting in radios shining down on the tables, and sometimes you're lucky if you can get it even in their parking lot, no matter what the good gear you have is. But the gear can come in handy if you're in your friend's backyard, or if you've got a campground that has great Wi-Fi way up in the front office, but horrible signal in the back. Having good gear on your roof can bring that good signal all the way to the back for you.
Nice.
So let's move on to cellular, because that's what we find most RVers rely on. That's what we rely on. And for us, we have AT&T phones, because that's not our AT&T phone, but
no. That's my AT&T phone.
Let's start with the basic. What's a smartphone? What's a jetpack?
Yeah. We had AT&T before we hit the road, and so we kept the phones, and we have a data plan on that. But then we have a Verizon plan. That's the hot spot that we use, is the Verizon.
Right.
And we like that because of the redundancy, so that we have both carriers and kind of covered. And that's what we usually recommend, is have, if you need it, to have that kind of redundancy. So what would you guys recommend? And can you talk a little bit about the cell companies, just maybe an overview of why everyone uses cellular on the road?
The cellular is a different technology than Wi-Fi. So you're actually going through a cellular company. And the four major ones in the US are Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and then Sprint. And I listed them in the order of how much network they have across the country.
Right. And it's there. Those are the only four nationwide networks. So if you hear of other carriers and other brands, they're either marketing brands that are either the same company or a third party that's reselling service on one of those big four, or they're a regional carrier that might claim they have nationwide coverage, but they actually only have native coverage in their state or in their local area. And those are not good plans for RVers to take on the road, because they will kick you off if you spend too much time out of their native area.
But cellular, the reason why it is such a good option for RVers is because of the large coverage map. So, you know, like Verizon and AT&T, they have strong coverage in places in between big cities. And that's what's important to us RVers, because we like to go out to the state parks, the national parks. We love to boondock out in the middle of nowhere. And we like to go to the big cities. We like to mix it up. We don't like to just stick to one style of RVing for a lot of us. And cellular is a technology that you can take with you, but it doesn't require necessarily a lot of equipment costs. Unlike satellite, which works almost everywhere you can get a signal, you've got expensive equipment and big equipment.
Satellite is special needs only.
But cellular, you can get it on your smartphone. You can get a small jetpack. You can go with more expensive routers. So there's lots of options for cellular, and the data plans are actually fairly reasonable, but more importantly, the speeds have now become fast enough that they can rival a home internet connection like cable.
Yeah, we've actually seen speeds over 100 megabits per second on cellular on occasion, but you run into some of the same garden hose problem too, as particularly now as there's more and more unlimited plans and more people trying to use all the cellular data. There's only so much spectrum to go around, and some of the networks and some of the places are getting very overloaded. So you're running into, oftentimes the speeds leave a lot to be desired, and that's actually one of the places where redundancy can come in really, really handy. Is Verizon might have coverage, but their speeds are going just to garbage. Quickly pull the ripcord to your emergency parachute and switch to AT&T, and maybe it's much better.
Yeah, we had that issue a summer or two ago when we were in Colorado. Verizon has been pretty much perfect for us everywhere. And then we got into Colorado and we just weren't picking up anything really. We would get a couple bars, but no data. So we flipped over to our AT&T phones, and that got us through those small areas we were in.
Yeah. And just because, you know, one carrier is considered the best. And if you ask most experienced RVers, they will almost just, Verizon is the first thing that comes out of their mouth as to what is the best carrier for RVers. But what works best is actually what works best at your current location.
Right.
And that's a variable that changes for RVers. And so many different variables come into play as to your signal strength, the tower capacity that the carrier has, and the equipment that you have with you to get the best signal.
We did an RV trip through New England last year, and we carry all the carriers. We have Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile, and there were actually days each one of them had a place that we found where that was the only way online. So
that's right.
Well,
okay, we had one place. That was the only one that was fast enough. We actually did have one place where Sprint was the only one that was fast enough to do that work we were trying to do. So having the more diversity you have to tap into, depending on your needs in a particular location, is just go to plan B. And if you're working online, having a plan C can be really critical, and even a plan D if you really got scheduled stuff. And that way you've got more options. And sometimes the plan E is go find a bar or a brew pub or
McDonald's with the Wi-Fi.
McDonald's or a library and have your work day there. If cellular's just not working out, just run for the hills or run for the border or talk wherever you can get connectivity. Taco Bell, I think some do. Okay. Yeah, McDonald's often does.
Awesome. So everybody, I mean, we all use cellular, but you hear people talk about satellite internet and cable internet and, you know, all these things that sound pretty awesome, but are they really good options for RVers?
So satellite is great for those that are really going off into the boonies. So if you're going places where there are no cell towers, and it's amazing the places there are cell towers these days, But if you're really going out to where there's no cell towers, then satellite may be worthwhile. There are expensive equipment. You're going to be paying $1,000 to $6,500 to get the equipment. There's going to be setup. If you go with a tripod setup.
Satellite internet is a whole different world than satellite TV, because the catch with satellite internet is you are talking to the satellite. You're not just trying to pick up the signal coming from space. You're trying to hit something the size of a school bus that's 26,000 miles away. So aiming is a whole world of hurt for these manual aim setup dishes. That could be a 30-minute process every time you move if you want to get your satellite back on.
But it's a great option if you're going to be places where there is no other option. And there are some really affordable options. Well, relatively, yeah. if your internet needs are there. Now, cable is another option that can work on the road.
A lot of RVers don't consider this, but they should.
But there are RV parks out there that are more catered towards longer-term residents. So they might even call themselves mobile home parks. But if you go places that cater to have seasonal rates or they advertise cable TV hookups, sometimes you can actually call the local cable company and have cable internet right at your site.
Yes.
But normally it's not going to be worthwhile unless you're spending a month or more at a time to go through the effort and the cost of that.
But oftentimes the cable companies will have little promo rates too, that it might only be like $19 for unlimited crazy fast internet for a month or two with no penalties for canceling when you're ready to leave. And
that's nice.
Yeah, we've seen some amazing deals that way.
Yeah, we've seen like Dish Network and stuff. They offer internet as well, but that's not really satellite internet.
No, so Dish Network and DirecTV, they're satellite TV companies. And what they have done to get to compete with the cable companies in the area, cable companies typically do offer television and internet service
over the same cable.
The same cable. So to compete with that, what these companies have done is they have partnered with the local internet providers in the area. So you might actually, when you buy like a Dish TV combo, is they're actually giving you a DSL connection coming into the house.
Right. And you just get it on one bill, but it's actually a wired DSL connection. Now, Dish does have what they call DishNet, which is doing the same thing where they're just contracting out with a satellite service called Exceed. That is a whole separate dish that they put on the side of your house. The professionals come out and precisely aim it for satellite internet. And that's for rural areas that couldn't get the DSL lines to them and stuff. And that's there, but it's actually not Dish Network that's putting it in, so and those are not plans that can be moved.
So stationary satellite internet options, they're usually not mobile. There's only 2 companies right now in the country that are offering mobile internet options where you can actually move them with you. Otherwise, you have to have someone come out and install it and move it for you.
Okay. So we are experiencing the joys of mobile internet. We're having trouble getting this feed to our Facebook page, so we're basically just talking to each other, but we're recording this and we're going to put it back up later. So some people are seeing it, some aren't. But I know a question that would come up is take a full-timer like you guys and like us, maybe not you guys are a little more extreme than us, but a full-timer who's going to do a nice mix, a blend of boondocking and campgrounds, and they're going to be all over the country living their lives pretty freely. Do you have kind of an ideal setup for someone like that?
No, unfortunately, there's not like a singular ideal setup, because you also have to look into what are your internet needs. Are you doing a lot of video work like we're doing with this? Are you happy to host conference calls, or do you want to stream Netflix?
And how many days can you go without being online? Do you have to be online at 9 a.m. every day for a team meeting, or it's like, oh, if I have trouble getting online today, I can get online tomorrow and handle my work. I mean, a lot of people have very different needs there.
Another consideration is how long are you staying in each location? Do you have the flexibility? Do you plan or pre-plan? Or do you just kind of go by whim? Do you have the flexibility if you get to a site, you can't get anything to work? Are you flexible enough to just go on to the next site? Yeah. Or are you going to want to optimize for that site because maybe you're camp hosting there for 3 or 4 months?
Right.
There's a lot of variables that come into play with selecting what the best mobile internet setup is. However, for someone who's working online and mixing it up, we would recommend having a solution on Verizon, a solution on AT&T, probably some sort of cellular signal enhancing gear, either a booster and or antennas. And if you going to be places often enough when you might have access to usable Wi-Fi, then something that can utilize Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and also depending on what their internal network needs are they having smart TVs and network attached storage drives and stuff? Do they want to invest in a fancier router and internal network for the RV that's going to become the hub for all this, or do they just want to have just like 1 or 2 laptops and they just manually change their settings every time they're switching what their connection is?
So it sounds like we need to go over to Internet for RVers and ask these kinds of questions over there.
We do have an overview guide at rvmobileinternet.com/overview, and that goes through all the basics of cellular, Wi-Fi, and satellite. And there we also list our top pick cellular data plans right now, because we're constantly tracking what the best value is and getting a lot of data on the road.
There's some amazing deals we have right now.
Yes.
Nice.
And then we have a lot of information on the gear. We are constantly testing boosters and routers and Wi-Fi equipment. We don't test satellite because it's just, we don't have the room for it.
Well, we have in the past though. So yeah. we have lived off of satellites. So we've got some experience with that as well.
But the newer generation, we don't. But we're constantly taking it out into the field, testing the equipment head to head at all price points. You can get gear that's inexpensive. It comes with the cost, of course, and in the performance it can deliver, as well as the customer service that you might be able to get. But we have guides for almost everything that we've written over the years, because we have a philosophy. If we get asked a question twice, it needs to be a guide.
And some people thrive on complex setups, and they really, really want something to be complicated and automated, and they want to tweak it and tune it. Other people are like, I want it as simple as possible. And so, yeah, we cater to either direction there, because we kind of can go both ways.
Yeah, we definitely, I just want to turn on things and have them work. And so that's kind of my deal. Even in our solar setup, I just wanted that. I know you guys have all the cool Victron stuff with the Bluetooth and everything. And at the time, I was like, I don't need all that. Now that I'm living it, I'm like, I wish I had that. I wish I could see my batteries while I'm laying in bed. But anyway, that's a different conversation for a different day.
We can bring up our Victron. You can see our batteries.
Oh, yeah. So did you talk about cell signal boosters?
So boosters. So this is kind of our top pick booster. This is the WeBoost 4GX. If you have been hanging around in almost any RVing group, you've probably heard of this, because WeBoost has an incredible marketing department that has gotten this guy into almost every blogger's hands. But
it is actually worthwhile.
And we would not recommend it if we have tested every booster on the market head to head, and this one continually outperforms every booster we do. They're currently offering this in 3 different antenna configurations, from simple to very tall antennas to one that they just came out, an RV one, which isn't necessarily the best choice.
Actually, the RV one has performed pretty poorly compared to the
it's got a lot of compromises in it.
But it's the same core booster. But one of the things we try to point to people is you may not need a booster, and actually in some cases a booster can hurt you.
So a booster takes a single antenna that you put on your roof. So this is their basic 4-inch stubby antenna, brings it into the amplifier, and then rebroadcasts it. So basically what the amplifier is doing is it's like putting a megaphone on your voice and shouting. And sometimes talking louder isn't the most efficient way of communication. It's just us getting,
any married couple in an RV for a little while will understand that.
That shouting doesn't normally get you the end result you want.
So one of our pro tips for using a booster, it can be very handy in certain situations, is always do a test with it on and a test with it off. So when you get someplace, and if you have a cell booster, try running a speed test. If you don't know the speed test app, don't worry about bars and signal strength nearly as much as you worry about how fast your connection actually is. So use the speed test app or the speed test website and see what your download and upload speeds are, and then turn the booster on and try the test again and see, did they improve? And sometimes you'll actually see your uploads go way up and your downloads drop a little bit. And so if you've got your task is, I need to do a video broadcast, that's great. I want to do that. I want to have much faster uploads. I don't care if my downloads just drop somewhat. There's still plenty. Other times they might bring them both down. You you're going to want to say, I'm going to skip the booster entirely. And other times it might be change your connection night and day. Take a bad connection and make it wonderful.
But there's also a different approach to signal enhancing. And we kind of recommend a lot of people have both on board, because in some situations, one makes better sense. On the other hand, a booster does. And that's using just antennas on your roof. So skipping the booster and getting devices that you can direct plug in an antenna right into your device. And smartphones, unfortunately, don't have this option anymore. In a day, long, long ago, you used to have smartphones that had antenna ports. No longer do they make them that way. But mobile hotspots like Jetpacks and Unite Pros, most of the models on the market have one, if not two.
So seek things out that have two antenna ports, because every LTE device actually has two antennas, and actually the next generation ones are having 4 antennas inside of them. It's kind of like stereo hearing with your ears, and they take really great advantage of combining those 2 signals from the 2 antennas. And so the hotspots that can take 2 external antennas can really do amazing things with it.
So going back to our screaming match in the RV, this is, instead of screaming at each other, this is us all listening better.
Yes.
Listening to each other and having, and instead of shouting at each other, we're listening to the words we're actually saying. And that's kind of what an antenna does, is it gives you a better hearing.
And where's the mega secret antenna?
So would that antenna then, since it's listening, maybe I got the metaphor wrong, would it be better for download speeds versus upload speeds, or does it really matter?
So in different signal conditions, you get all sorts of variable results on this. In a moderate signal condition, so you're getting, to simplify things, let's say you're getting 2 bars of signal. An antenna in that case is going to give you probably a very decent upload performance increase as well as download. If you're already getting great signal, let's say you're getting 4 or 5 bars, again, simplifying this, you're probably not going to see any increase in download, but you're going to see some in upload. But if you're getting horrible signal, it's hard. Sometimes, and that's when a booster really can make sense.
And yes, the booster can make sense in the really weak areas, and particularly for the uploads, because the booster can do so much more for making you heard by the tower. And then where you get kind of the bonuses, if you've got the 2 antennas on the roof, which is a technology called MIMO. It's multiple in, multiple out, MIMO.
Or Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Finding Nemo. when you've got the 2 antennas able to work, sometimes what the hotspot can do is it goes into a double speed mode, where it's like having 2 conversations, one in each ear, and it actually will double its speed. It will be using each antenna for a separate data stream.
Yeah, I think you might be going a little too deep.
But you'll see this, like, it's basically like hitting the nitrous on the engine. You just got turbo mode kicks in, and the downloads will double. It's just pretty amazing.
Nice. I could go for some turbo mode every once in a while. Do you have any more questions here?
Well, how can we find you guys and all this information? We'll make sure we get that out to everyone.
The website is rvmobileinternet.com, and we do have a bunch of free content there, and we are all member and community funded. So we have Mobile Internet Aficionados, which is our premium membership group. We do not accept advertising dollars. We don't accept sponsorships from any company. We are funded by the very community that we serve, and it's because of them that we're able to provide a lot of free content. And we go further with them. So they have access to our in-depth reviews. We have private Q&A forums.
And the members actually get a free download of the book as well.
And we do webinars with them on deeper contents. We let him go geeky for those who want to go geeky with them. And we also host the Internet for RVers group on Facebook, which is our free group that goes along with the site. We actually have teaching assistants that hang in there, and they field questions, and sometimes I'm the teaching assistant. But when questions come up, we've helped field people to the correct guides that we've already written. We have also have a YouTube channel. It's at Mobile Internet Info, where you can also, if you prefer video content, we have a lot of video content that we create as well.
And it's constantly changing and being updated as new plans come out, new unlimited options come out, new routers and new gear and antennas come out. We've basically tried to cover just about everything we can get our hands on.
Yeah, you guys have done good finding a niche that is not going away. The end of internet will never be written. It just keeps changing every single day. So.
It does. We keep hoping for Elon Musk just to create the internet for all. Was he doing balloons or?
He's going to send 7,000 satellites up starting in 2019.
That sounds awesome.
Once he does that, then we can go off and find something else.
That was going to be a question I had for you. Is there anything exciting on the horizon?
There is actually a lot exciting, both on the near-term horizon and there's some really cool satellite next-generation stuff that's just starting to be, percolating around for like 2019, 2020. Also, 2019, 2020 range is 5G cellular, which is also has potential to be absolutely amazing. But even before that, the current newest generation of cellular technologies using existing LTE is getting to close to being able to do theoretical 1 gigabit per second speeds. And coverage is really pushing out. A lot of the carriers are really fleshing out their rural coverage. So both speeds and coverage are improving a lot this year.
The carrier to keep your eye on right now is T-Mobile. They just won the FCC auction for the 600 megahertz bandwidth. Now, all that means is that they have now access to longer range cellular, which means they can start competing with Verizon and AT&T in outside of big cities. And they are the only carrier right now that is actively investing in expanding their network out. And they're doing it very rapidly. And they have some pretty compelling plans that you can sign on to right now. And they will continue to compete. They are the carrier, even if you never sign up with T-Mobile. The way
it's a fun one to watch.
John Laguerre is just fun. But the policies that they've implemented in the last 3 years have forced the other major carriers to really innovate and come up with better plans. I mean, we've seen the end of contracts. We've seen unlimited data become a reality. Well, quote unquote, unlimited data.
We know what those quotes mean.
They all have their own definition of unlimited, but we've seen them all innovate and change their plans over the years, and that is all in thanks to T-Mobile putting the pressure on.
And T-Mobile has some good plans for like going into Canada or Mexico too, right?
Yes, actually, all of the carriers have some decent plans. AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile.
And again, T-Mobile started it by saying, hey, we're just going to include Canada and Mexico. And now everybody else is falling in line. Their current new plans from everybody basically includes Canada and Mexico. So it's got so much easier to travel around the continent.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, that makes a difference for a lot of the RVers because we can drive there. So we want to be able to get access to our phones.
Yeah, I mean, it's kept us from going places for that reason.
And data, and more important, phones and data, which is T-Mobile and AT&T both on their new unlimited plans. Your unlimited data travels with you across the borders.
That's true.
Verizon puts a cap of 500 megabytes per day, which is half a gigabyte. If you're not going to be streaming Netflix that much on a Verizon plan up there, but that's a very usable amount for most of us for a daily use.
We actually know Canadians who get bootleg U.S. plans just because they get more data with their U.S. plan roaming in Canada than they can get from a Canadian carrier, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That's funny.
But but to prevent that, all of the carriers have a stipulation that primary U.S. use.
Yes.
So.
Of course. Back to the MIAA mobile internet aficionados. You guys were generous enough to offer a discount for our members. So people in our group or people that go to our webpage.
All the Freedom RVers here can use MIAA RV to Freedom
as a discount code to get $5 off to join the mobile internet aficionados. And then you guys can get in the weeds about the internet stuff.
Yeah, we do recommend it because it keeps you up on everything that's happening, and it makes us a little lazy, honestly, because we don't really have to research that as much. I just go there and I look up when I want to figure anything out or see what we should buy, and okay.
Our goal with creating the website in general and the MIAA was, number one, the MIAA is for those people who consider mobile internet an essential and they want to be kept up on the latest. We send out alert newsletters as soon as we hear of new stuff. They get buy alerts or don't buy now because we just,
we know something better is coming.
Because we now have insider information with a lot of the companies, and they allow us to leak information or not share information with our members, but not the public sometimes.
Yeah, so our members have got a lot of sneak previews of upcoming products, so they're in the know sometimes months and months before they're actually publicly announced, which has been really kind of cool.
But the free site is, we love being able, we're gift economy people. We believe if you give out more to the world, it comes back to you. And that has definitely been true for us. And so,
We've got a lot of free sites.
We have to restrain ourselves from not making it all free. But the MIAA is how we are funded. We don't like taking kickbacks from companies because we don't want a bias. We want our bias to be
our members.
We want to serve them and our community. And our focus is we're going to focus on this topic, and our community supports us in that, so that you can focus on what drives you.
Yes.
Nice. I mean, everybody in our group probably knows by now if an internet question comes up, we give like 2 sentences of the basics, and then we say, go over here.
Go over to view, over there. Because that's going to be the best information.
Yeah. These are the people that are keeping up with the internet so that we can all live.
Yeah.
The internet has made RVing a lot easier than it used to be.
That is so true. And I think it has enabled more people to be able to hit the road at any age now and be able to work remotely or homeschool kids or keep entertained. Technology, just allowing to have video conference chats like this allows you to be out on the road longer, away from family and friends and loved ones, because you can keep connected so much better. And without internet, that ain't happening.
And just the entertainment side of things, of people who can, you can still get all your live TV or your Netflix or your HBO. That's all possible. Even just 2 years ago, that would have been like kind of crazy talk to do that over cellular, and now it's actually kind of getting easy.
Oh yeah, I mean, we we'll be out in the desert boondocking and watching Netflix at night, and it's all the technology coming out has made everything a lot easier and a lot more comfortable.
Oh, for sure. It allows us to actually live on the road instead of just vacation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's see if did we have any questions come up? We've had trouble with the feed going into Facebook, so our biggest question is, where are you? We can't see you.
We're right here.
Oh, really? There was, when we were talking about boosters, and they said is it same as an extender?
Yeah, as a booster, the same thing as an extender when people use those words.
Well, so generally, the booster word tends to get applied to cellular boosters and then Wi-Fi extenders, because they're behind the scenes. They're kind of doing different things. The cellular booster is just a dumb amplifier that's taking a signal from outside and rebroadcasting it inside. It doesn't know what carrier you're connected to for the most part, and doesn't know anything about it. And they're very different products. So a cellular booster doesn't help with your Wi-Fi, and a Wi-Fi extender doesn't help with your cellular. But the Wi-Fi extenders tend to be a Wi-Fi access point that then connects to the Wi-Fi signal remotely and then repeats it inside. So it's a little bit of a smarter system. But so boosters tend to be cellular, extenders tend to be Wi-Fi. That's basically.
But we see people interchange the words.
But people mix them up all the time.
Okay.
And I don't have a good argument for setting people straight on it. So we just go with it.
Nice.
Just the important point is Wi-Fi equipment won't help with your cellular. Wi-Fi and cellular are different technologies, and you need different equipment for each. That's the part you got to be
remember. Yes.
Right. Because you hear a lot about the Wi-Fi Ranger, and people tend to think that's going to help their cellular.
Or they think they get a reboost, and that's going to help them get the campground Wi-Fi, and they are not interchangeable.
Interesting. Yeah, we had one person in the group here just say that we need to make sure that we keep this all in layman's terms for some folks. But I think you guys do a good job breaking it down and helping to explain it, and, help everybody understand which part's connected to which part, because it's confusing.
It is confusing, and it is a high-tech topic.
Yeah.
And there is no getting around that. And
so in the book and in our overview guides, we start off with the assumption that you don't know what the difference between a cell phone is and a Wi-Fi is. And we kind of start with the super basics, and we build from there. So we can go all the way up to explaining the magic of how MIMO works. But we start with the very, very basics. So you can only go as far as you're comfortable.
Nice.
That makes sense to me, because when you're at home, you don't deal with all of this stuff. You have your phone. Your
company pulls a wire to your house. They give you a modem, and they set up a Wi-Fi network.
And you call them when it doesn't work.
And they'll tell you the squirrels at your line that come out and run you a new line. Mobile internet, you are dealing with several high-tech technologies at the same time, and we see people all the time. They get out there and they say, I've got my Wi-Fi. I need better Wi-Fi. And they're talking about their jetpack. It's like, okay, it's confusing because with a jetpack, you have cellular coming into it and you have Wi-Fi coming out of it. Wi-Fi doesn't always mean a public Wi-Fi hotspot at a campground. It is a general technology, and we all have the capability, whether we're using a router
or a phone acting as a personal hotspot.
That's creating a Wi-Fi hotspot. So it gets confusing. Even when you come into a group and people are saying, I need better Wi-Fi, you have to ask, to take a step back and tell me what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And then we can help you figure out what pieces need to come together to get the results you're looking for.
Right.
Let's say you had someone that was really, just really had a hard time with all the technology side of it. And they just wanted something that worked. Do you offer a service to like help them, just kind of basically help them figure out what they need and get what they need and get going?
We do offer a limited number of private advising sessions every month. Where we do a pre-interview and then we spend an hour in a private video chat like this, helping you work through your needs and assessing what your travels are going to be about and what your internet connectivity needs to be, and help you come up with a game plan that you're going to be able to, whether it's high tech or low tech as you need it to be. So we do offer that as a service.
And for people who need less handholding, that's one of the major perks of our membership is the member forums where people can ask in-depth questions, a lot more than you could ask in a little Facebook group, and there can be some back and forth, and other members chime in too. So there's a huge wealth of information and good quality questions being answered in the forums, both from super novice people to super advanced people with very specific questions and needs.
We try to write all of our guides to be low tech.
At the start of the guide.
At the start of them. And so that's one thing that we can do in our member forums is help guide you to the right guides and say, okay, stop at this point because beyond this point it's probably going to confuse you. And then come back after you've read it and let's talk and work through. Is an antenna better than a booster for you? Is AT&T or Verizon going to play a role? So we can help people make those decisions.
And often what we do is we talk people out of spending a lot of money because a lot of people think they just need to throw money at a problem, and we kind of talk them off the ledge, and they end up saving a ton of money and getting something better that better fits them because that's not always the way to solve a problem.
And our motivation isn't affiliate links and getting people to buy equipment because we're not selling equipment or plans.
Yes.
That's why we like being funded by our members, is so that we have no incentive to sell you a booster or a router. Right. We want you to have something that's going to work for you and that you're going to be able to manage on the road.
It's not going to be overly complicated.
Or if you like complicated. Some people amazingly like complicated setups.
Yeah. No, that's nice. I mean, we were in the same boat when we started. It was, the Wi-Fi Ranger was a really big deal at the time. So we thought that's the first thing we've got to buy when we buy the RV. But we put it off because it was expensive, and we got out there and started realizing that Wi-Fi wasn't really our thing. It wasn't going to work for what we needed it for, and so we were lucky to save money at that point. But if we had someone to talk to, it would have been easier.
Yes, we talk a lot of people out of expensive Wi-Fi repeating equipment until they get out there and realize if they are going to be doing, like you guys right now, a lot of driveway surfing, then it might make sense. But despite the name Wi-Fi Ranger, their interior router is actually a solution that can work for a lot of people if you need Ethernet, of course. If you need to convert cellular to Ethernet for running things in a local area network,
because you connect your hotspot to this over USB, and suddenly now you've got a much more powerful, dedicated indoor Wi-Fi and wired network, and all your devices only need to connect to that one network, and then the Wi-Fi Ranger can manage the cellular connection. So we talk a lot of people into use a Wi-Fi Ranger for your cellular side of things, just to manage the connection. Don't worry about campground Wi-Fi. Don't buy the extra several $100s worth of roof gear. Just have indoor Wi-Fi Ranger, and you'll be happy.
Or one of their competitors. There's actually some there's some really strong competitors.
Yeah, there's some good indoor router options.
So there's lots of options out there, and our philosophy is throwing money at the problem isn't going to solve it.
No, not with most problems.
Yes.
Are there any more questions here? Let's see.
Just to recommend another phone and mobile hotspot provider, because someone we know, one of our beta testers, has T-Mobile, and he's thinking about adding Verizon as backup. And I mean, offhand, we always talk about redundancy. I know you guys do too. So I'd say with
Definitely.
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile's their unlimited data plan right now, depending upon how much data this individual needs. If you get their unlimited international +1 plan, or whatever, it's the one that costs $95. The one that costs $95 a month for a single line gives you unlimited mobile hotspot use at 4G full LTE speeds on your smartphone.
That's a very sweet plan. It's one of the best deals. But
T-Mobile's network, when you compare it to Verizon's, is right now not all that competitive.
And the key also with T-Mobile is if you have an older phone or hotspot and stuff, T-Mobile has done a lot of their network expansion over the last 2 years has been on what's called LTE Band 12, or T-Mobile calls extended range LTE. And older T-Mobile devices can't talk to that newer network. So if you've got older T-Mobile phones, you'll be missing out on a lot of their new coverage. So there's sometimes the best thing to do with T-Mobile stuff is make sure you have the latest and greatest technology first, and suddenly your coverage will jump through the roof compared to older gear.
But as far as adding Verizon on to as a redundant option, the difficulty with Verizon is their new unlimited plans really have some big, strong quotes around it because they're limiting the feature that RVers most need on the road, especially as full-timers or long or seasonal travelers, is we're looking for a home internet replacement on the road. We're not just looking for, checking our email on our smartphone all the time.
We want more than just unlimited on our phone. We want unlimited on our laptops and on our televisions, on all our other gear. And that's where things get a lot trickier because all the carriers are just talking about unlimited, but they only mean unlimited on your phone screen. So
and the Verizon plans all have a 10 gigabyte per month mobile hotspot high-speed cap, which means even on their Jetpack unlimited plan, you're only going to get 10 gigabytes a month of high-speed usage. For reference, that's watching maybe 3 Netflix movies.
In HD.
Yeah.
So that's like one night for me.
Yeah, it's one night, It's not going to serve the needs of most RVers looking for a home internet replacement. Now, there are options to get a truly unlimited Verizon plan, but they're getting more and more complicated.
A lot of hoops.
A lot of hoops, but you can go back and get their old unlimited data plans from back when unlimited didn't have quotes around it. And there are options for leasing a plan from someone who has them to acquiring one into your name.
But do your homework because these are complicated and expensive and kind of scary paths to go down unless you do your homework first.
And we do have a full 20,000 word guide to it with a video that gets updated about every 2 months because it changes data.
Yeah, we have a member here who just asked, how do you overcome the 10 gigabyte limit? So there are ways, but they're tricky.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going back and getting the grandfather unlimited data plans. And
you'd have to break into my RV and steal this.
No, don't show that. No, but
it doesn't.
But it's plausible. But I know like those plans too. I mean, you guys talk about keeping them under contract because it's still a little iffy right now. Verizon's cracking down.
Yes.
They have shut down 10,000 of those lines since last August.
Wow.
And that's just for the owned lines. And then there's a bunch of people who got corporate plans and they rent them out. Those are the ones you talk about, the eBay plans. You hear those.
They pretend that their employees they got unlimited lines for their employees, but their employees are actually people who are paying them $150 a month to be an employee and have their unlimited corporate plan.
And Verizon has shut down in May. We heard from at least 6 of those vendors who got shut down. Verizon has asked eBay to not allow listings on eBay anymore, so they're constantly shutting down those listings. So it's getting harder and harder to find vendors that are still in business because Verizon's, those vendors are only paying a small bit of money to Verizon, and
then marking it up a lot.
They're marking it up a lot, and folks are using hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes of data on those plans.
But can be done, and there's still ways to even extend Verizon contracts and keep these lines going. Actually, I spent a chunk of my day today working on that. So, yeah, there's ways to do these things.
So if you had an old Verizon plan that was unlimited already, you would say, keep that thing.
Get it under contract.
Get it back
under contract.
Get it back under contract. There's still a couple ways to do it. Our recommended way is a simple one that doesn't have much risk involved with it. There's other options out there. But right now, of those, I'd mentioned the 10,000 plans that got terminated. Those were all out of contract plans. And right now, if your plan is not in contract and you have one of those grandfathered unlimited data plans, the moment that you cross a 3-month average of 100 gigabytes of use, you get an instant termination.
Wow.
So yeah, if you are out of contract, get back in contract before it's too late.
Because it is really easy. All it takes is one Xbox machine downloading an update overnight to push you over what you think you might be safe with, and they are cutthroat right now with it.
Yeah, Verizon's on a termination spree.
Wow. Well, we're safe until October here because we caught wind of that through your group before. So I say we, but Krenza does all of this. Krenza got us our grandfathered plan. She contacted the people we needed to contact to get back into contract. And
my recommendation is, about 4 weeks before your contract is up, have a reminder notice that annoys the heck out of you. Whatever annoys you most, have it come up and annoy and remind you. We cannot tell you the number of members that had it on their calendar, ignored it, and passed, and then got
Yeah, that would be a sad day for us, I think, especially Brandon, because as you can tell, he likes to watch Netflix.
Yes.
Well, we were on the Millennicom plan for a little while, the 20 gigabyte plan.
Do you remember what 20 gigabytes sounded good?
Yes.
It sounded good, but it also hurt. It hurt hard to stick to that 20 gigs.
Oh, yeah. But it was possible back then.
Yeah, that felt huge back then, and now we're like 20 gigs. That's one day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing is as technology progresses, I mean, there's so many things you can do on your phone now that they all want data.
Right. Now, one tip, so the question was how can you get around that 10 gigabyte cap? And I'll share a tip here, is if your primary usage is video streaming, is get a phone that has the option for HDMI out. So iPhones have it built in. You can get an adapter that takes the Lightning port to an HDMI cable. Android phones, some of them do, some of them don't. But if you're streaming Netflix on your iPhone and you're just broadcasting it out as HDMI to your TV screen, that's not tethering. That's still on-device data, and that is not restricted. So video streaming is your goal. That's a great way. Is just consider your phone as a media device.
Yeah, or get a tablet and put the tablet as part of your media center with just a big HDMI cable coming out, and that becomes your cable bill basically. Is that tablet plan?
Nice.
And that's a good tip for people.
That's a good idea. Let's see if there's any more little questions. Just a simple one on the Wi-Fi Ranger. Does that have gigabit Ethernet ports on it?
The Wi-Fi Ranger Go AC does, which is that the Go AC?
No, this is not. But
it looks exactly the same.
It looks the same. They have two models out: the Core and the Go AC. The Go AC has gigabit Ethernet ports, and it also has triple chain 802.11 AC Wi-Fi.
So very fast local network.
For the geeks, I did the geek words, but it's fast Wi-Fi and fast Ethernet ports.
Yeah, that's how I know it. It's fast. I don't know what it does or anything, but yeah. All right, so, but it is feasible. I mean, we do it, but it is feasible to live on the road and have enough internet to work remotely.
And to be entertained remotely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're looking for more information on working remotely, we actually just put out a brand new guide on that. It's at rvmobileinternet.com/work. And we go over our top tips for building a mobile internet arsenal.
For work.
And more importantly, planning your travels around connectivity. So, how to scope out if a campground or a boondocking spot you want to go to will have the connectivity you need. And, the Campendium site is just awesome for that because it's a review site for campgrounds where you can
list cell coverage. Yeah.
So,
yeah, we were just talking about that with some people yesterday because that's awesome. And now they've even got WeBoost boosted signals on there as well. So
yeah, so it's great. They've been, because they're younger full-timers like us who work on the road. So, they're paying attention to what people want to know about the campgrounds. And that's a top thing. Well, most of us want to know these days.
Yeah, it's one of the first things I look at when I go look at the review. Oh, there's no signal? That's out.
Yeah.
All right, now hiking trails. Okay, good. Privacy at site. Okay, dog walk area. Okay. Like, oh, bathrooms. I don't care about this.
We actually plan our campground trips to look for the places with bad signal because that's some places.
That's true. You're testing all the time.
That's gonna be rough.
We actually have to take the week off from answering questions. Since we're going to be places where
horrible signal.
We don't know if we're going to be able to get online.
And then we find out
Right.
it's good. So we get like, aha, we made it.
Well, we've got some people in our group that are asking for links, so we'll put up all the links to everything we've mentioned as a comment or as a new post, just so people can figure out where to go and what to see and everything. And we have some questions
At the top.
Yeah, we'll put them at the top. And we have a question coming in about the Mobley program, which is kind of a weird one, which is probably better to take that over to the Internet for RVers group.
If you go to the Internet for RVers group, we have if you search for main Mobley thread, and it is usually in the very top of the group because it has been kind of the top hit since February.
It's a way, basically, in a nutshell, it is a way to get unlimited data on AT&T for just $20 a month. That's it. You know, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of bizarre. It's this kind of strange thing, but a lot of RVers are flocking to that because it is an incredible good deal.
It's only on this one specific device called the Mobley, which is the stupidest name ever. I just want to like have a Muppets theme song in the background when I talk about it. But the Mobley is designed to be a diagnostic tool, like for like the OnStar system.
Yeah,
and so you have to convert one of those to have an AC power adapter to work when you're not having the ignition on your
It's not super hard.
Plug into this port.
There you go.
Yep.
Let me put on my camera here so everybody can see. But it will plug into the OBD port of your vehicle.
Right, and RVs don't normally have them.
Well, or they don't have them easily accessible.
Yeah.
Yep. But there's AC power adapters you can use to power it. Now, it's no telling, and I'm just put this caveat out there. AT&T did not intend these plans to be run the way that we're using them. So do not be surprised if at some point in the future they take action on these plans. But,
or not, because the catch, we always tell people when there's these too good to be true deals, we let people know about them and say, make sure this isn't your only way online because they may or may not last for a long time. But jump on it now because it's ridiculous.
And enjoy it while it lasts.
So is that truly an unlimited plan, or has it got air quotes too?
It's got little quotes around it. So it is unlimited. After it has something called network management, which is something you're going to find on all of the plans. And we talked about the hotspot data cap that Verizon has on their plans. Network management means that after you have used more than a certain amount of data in a month, the carrier reserves the right to deprioritize your usage over customers who have not used as much data so far this month.
Which means on a non-busy tower, you won't notice it at all. And even on a busy tower, you might only notice a little bit. You'll just be slowed down a little bit relative to the person next to you. Unless you're going head to head, you might not even notice it.
It's like having access to the carpool lane on a highway.
Right.
Is during rush hour, if you qualify for the carpool lane, it totally makes sense to use it because you're going to bypass the bumper-to-bumper traffic. But during the middle of the day, everyone's going fast. It doesn't matter which lane you're using, right, even if you qualify for the carpool lane. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, so network management is not nearly as painful as the throttles or the caps that, as soon as you hit that 10 gigabyte Verizon hotspot cap for the rest of the month, your hotspot usage is slow, no matter how busy the tower is. So network management is so far proving not to be much of a big deal in most places.
Yeah, the Mobley is subject to it after 22 gigabytes of usage in a month. Your traffic may be deprioritized.
That's interesting to know. It's an interesting one that we've looked at, and we're like, maybe we should get into this too, just to have more options, or at least have something I can watch internet on. But I think the tablet thing might be the way we'll go.
Yeah, we have an article coming out in the morning. AT&T has also brought back their unlimited tablet plan for $29.99 a month.
Oh. Well, we have an AT&T tablet, so that would work.
So that article is going up tomorrow morning.
Nice. Well, we'll check it out because we're in the MIAA group. So I think that's all. We're not seeing too many more questions. So
someone just asked what the website is again, but we know it's
RVmobileinternet.com. And if you forget it, if you Google anything about RV and internet,
I think we're there.
more than likely, or you might find the Technomadia page, which will lead you to it as well.
Technomadia's personal side, and
yeah, I was going to say, a lot of people know you guys as Technomadia. So if you hear the word Technomadia thrown around, it's these same people as well. Just like we have our Drive, Dive, Devour site, but we have the RV Freedom site. It's the same kind of. We modeled our idea after you.
We
should do something personal and have business or whatever.
Yes, having that separation, and that's what we've been trying to do. Is Technomadia is our fun play place, and RV Mobile Internet's our fun workplace.
Nice. All right, well then I guess we'll let you guys go. They're actually sitting on a boat right now. They're trying to hide it, but they're on a pretty awesome boat.
It's a recreational.
It is a recreational vessel. It's an RV.
recreational vessel.
Yeah, we're full-time RVers for 11 years, and now we are part-time cruisers and part-time RVers.
Yeah, we're half boat, half RV now.
That's not a bad way to go.
No, not at all.
She gets seasick, so that's not going to be in our cards.
Yeah.
I get seasick too, but I have
Really?
Yeah.
Well, at least you're in mostly, you'll be in inland waterways, so that'll be nicer.
I know. Every time I see that, I think, well, maybe we could do that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, but
Well, come aboard for a couple days and try it out with us.
yeah, maybe, yeah, because it's the more ocean waves that tend to get me, and I'm thinking
We'll have precisely about 70 miles of open water crossing. Most of it's going to be only we're fair weather sailors. We're only going to be out on rivers and canals and intercoastal waterways, which are usually relatively calm.
Nice.
Or it's the wake from the other boats. Is your
right.
My big experience with the intercoastals is my dad would misjudge the tides, and we'd end up on sandbars. So don't do that. But I think there's enough technology now that we should all know when the tides are changing.
Should be, yeah. Or at least have a backup plan for who's going to deliver you beer to wait out those.
Exactly. As long as your fridge is good and your batteries are charged, you'll be all right. All right. Well, we'll see you guys out there. And
you guys keep rocking it. Your new group is amazing, and what you're building is amazing. And thank you for bringing together the RVing community and helping so many.
We have a place to send the newbies.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we're here for. We're
Right.
here for the newbies because we know that all the other groups, they get tired of asking the newbie questions over and over and over. And we don't. We're going to do like you, though. The more we answer them, the more we're writing them down and going to make a blog post so that we don't have to answer them as much.
Anytime you answer a question twice, just make a guide out of it, right then and there.
Yeah. But yeah, we wanted to fit that void so that people that want to get out on the road and live like all of us do can find
Have
a place to
just come
So
ask
we're
and
planning
learn.
You can no longer get into RV parks because so many of your group is taking your camp spots.
I know. We have thought about that.
Well, that's why we've
People
got
brought it
solar
up.
now, so we can go to the desert and
Until
They're all going to be there because you're teaching them how to do solar.
I know.
Exactly.
well, we'll all get on boats and follow you around.
That's our plan. Is we're going to try to inspire enough RVers to switch to boats so we can get back to RVing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good idea.
Nice.
We can find a balance between the two, right?
Exactly.
Well, our secret long range plan is going to have break back into the cubicle. I mean, they're
That's I mean, I think that's the way it's going. We should all go back to cubicles because RV life's really no fun. It's a lot of driving around and seeing rocks and trees, and those are boring.
I mean, how many rainbows can you really do?
Yeah. I'd much rather be in an office talking about reality TV shows and having meetings and, taking notes.
Staring at gray walls.
Yeah.
Sounds better.
Fluorescent lighting is my favorite, too. So.
Oh, yeah, and stock prints from Home Depot.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes. All right. We'll stop goofing off.
Yeah. But I know we have a lot of our group watching, but in case you're not part of the group, you can go to rvfreedomgroup.com, and that takes you right into the Facebook group that we've been talking about.
And she said it wrong. It's RV to Freedom.
What did I
group.
say? Yeah, I haven't been doing this for a while or anything.
Right.
RV to Freedom, TO group.com.
And that'll bounce you right into the Facebook group. Or if you just go to rvtofreedom.com, we've got links all over our website.
There's a link
for
right at the
Facebook
top
group.
that says groups, so you can click right in. And they are rvmobileinternet.com. I did say that right,
Yep.
right, guys? Okay, rvmobileinternet.com. And you can get
for RVers.
Yes.
right.
And if
Lots
you
of
want to
information.
join Mobile Internet Aficionados, there is a discount code, which is MIAA RV to Freedom, and that'll give you $5 off joining Mobile Internet Aficionados. So I think we've got all the plugs in now.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks everybody for being online. Sorry there were technical issues as we're talking about the internet and having internet
Oh,
issues.
it's a good case study because it happens. And what are you going to do when it happens? You have to have a plan B and C.
Right.
Right.
Our plan B and C is we're recording this. So any of you guys who missed the beginning and it's all glitchy for you, we've recorded it here and we'll put it up in later tonight or tomorrow morning.
Right. Right. Thank you all, and we'll hopefully see you sometime.
I think it was court site 2016 last time we were together.
That's been a while.
Oh my, yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah, it was courtside, and then we booked it to the Keys.
Yes.
Yeah, and we passed you in passing. I got a notification because of this day and age with internet and phones and Facebook that said Chris Dunphy is near you, and we're like, what? And I'm trying to write you guys.
We were staying at the DuPoy Water Management area.
Ah.
Out in Indiantown, Florida.
Yeah, we went into town, and you
through.
guys came to look at a boat.
Right. Yeah, we were looking at boats that day.
Yes,
we were trying to get across Florida to look at boats. Yes.
Yeah.
So we were close, just missed.
The crazy kind of creepy internet, let me know. But we missed you guys that time.
All right.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this replay of our Facebook Live show.
Join our Facebook community to participate in the live shows and learn how to live in an RV.
Go to rvtofreedomgroup.com to join the RV to Freedom Facebook group.
And to be notified about our next live videos and more, sign up with the link provided below in the video description.
We want to help you find your RV to freedom.